I have two brothers, one is elder than me and one is younger than me. All of us used to sleep on the same bed and our parents were in the room next door. This happened to me when I was about 8 years old. Just as usual, all of us were sleeping when at midnight I woke up. I woke up in order to go to the restroom, but when I woke up, electricity was gone. I heard someone singing and bathing in the washroom, and it was a girl's voice, an adult perhaps. As it was dark everywhere in the room because the electricity was gone, I was very scared to go to the washroom to check, so I just laid down on my bed. The sound of singing stopped after some time. Then I thought that I should go to my parents' room, because even though the singing had stopped, I was still scared because I did not hear any door opening. If my mother was taking a shower, she must have left, right? So to go to my parents' room, I started finding the edge of the bed. It was all dark in the room and I was not able to find the edge of the bed. I absolutely tried my level best to get off that bed that night, but it felt like my bed was surrounded by walls from all four sides. After getting exhausted by trying again and again to get off the bed, I just laid down and I started crying loudly, and I have no idea when I went to sleep, but I firmly remember that I was sweating a lot. That night felt like a never-ending night and was not less than a nightmare for me. I woke up the next day and told my parents about what had happened to me, but they never believed me and told me that it was just a dream. I, on the other hand, firmly remember that this was not the case, and I don't even think for a second that it was a dream, because when I woke up in the morning that night, my sleeping suit was full of sweat. Subscribe to Horror Jam for daily horror stories and press the bell icon so that you could get notified every time a new story is uploaded. You can also share your experiences on the email given down below. This happened to my friend's family. My friend's name is Joseph and his wife's name is Mia. This actually happened to them when they shifted into a new apartment. Everything was quite normal in the start, but only after some weeks Mia started seeing a kid in the corridor. So Mia gave it no notice because she thought that he must be living in an apartment next door or maybe some other floor. Joseph was a working man and Mia was a housewife, so most of the time Mia was alone in the house. She experienced that whenever she used to go into the restroom, someone knocked at the door, and after checking, there was no one outside the door, and this was always the case. She also started seeing a very weird kind of a woman in the corridor with a long neck. She tried to tell this to Joseph, but he ignored it by saying that it must be your imagination. But this was only until this also started happening to him. Whenever he would just walk into the restroom and close the door, someone would start knocking the door. And when he goes out to check who's knocking, there is no one there. They literally always found dead silence in the corridor. One day when the couple was out buying groceries in the market, he heard Mia screaming out loud. So he went up to her and asked about what had happened. She told him that she saw a scary woman with very weird clothes. Joseph was able to calm her down that day. On another day, Joseph woke up at night to go to the restroom when he saw a very weird and a scary woman in the house staring right at them in their bed. He was so scared that he was not even able to wake up Mia, and he did not go to sleep that night. Then again, one day Mia was sleeping in a blanket when someone pulled off the blanket from her. She got up and tried to look around because she thought that it might be Joseph who came early from his office and is trying to pull a prank on her. But the strange thing was that Joseph was nowhere to be found in the house. So she called him to confirm, and he told her that he was still in the office. Mia told everything to Joseph when he came back home, and after that day they started thinking about changing their home, and only after a few weeks they did. Nothing of such sort has happened to them since then, so they figured that it must be the location they were living in. This happened to me and my brother when we went on a family trip. We basically reached our destination at night about 11 p.m. My brother and I slept in the same room. Just after a few hours, I felt like my bed was shaking, so I woke up. It was about 3 a.m. in the morning, so I took a look around and it was my brother who was literally shivering. I quickly got up and told him to relax. Further, I helped him to stand up, but unfortunately I was not able to, even though I was older than him. He felt way heavier than his normal weight. He was pointing at one corner of the room, and when I looked in that direction, there was no one there. It looked like as if he was pointing towards someone, and at the same time the dogs outside the hotel started barking. The timing of the dog barking was very strange. I again tried to get my brother up, but he was just too heavy that again I was not able to. I quickly started to recite the verses of the holy book in my heart when suddenly my brother looked at me with furious anger. He told me in a very thick and a strange voice not to recite those verses, but I did not stop because he was my brother and I had to take care of him. After a few minutes, I felt like someone was holding my brother up, and suddenly someone let him go. He just dropped on the bed and laid down. After a few minutes, I tried to get him up for a glass of water, and this time everything was very normal and he was not too heavy anymore. And then I turned on the lights. After a few minutes and another glass of water, he went back to sleep as he was relaxed now. It was not till the next morning when I asked him about what had happened, to which he refused to remember anything and told me nothing had happened. Now I don't know if he still remembers what had happened to him that night and still refuses to tell anyone, or he doesn't remember anything at all. I hurried him up and we left the hotel as soon as we could the next morning. So Horror Jam fans, kindly consider subscribing to the channel and press the bell icon so that you could get notified every time a new story is uploaded. Tell me in the comment section down below which one of these stories did you like the best, and if you have any such story, email it to me. The email is given in the description box down below.